It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Okay, great.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Brunch College head volleyball coach, Coach Alex Mole. How are you doing today?
I'm good. So I actually am not the coach at Baruch anymore. I'm the Pratt Institute head coach. So yeah, change of scenery.
Can you talk about your coaching experience and how you got started?
Sure. So I started coaching when I was a kid. My parents coached my sister's youth teams when I was in grade school, and I helped out then. And then it really got started when I was graduating, senior year of college, and I picked up my sister from club volleyball practice, and they offered me a job when I graduated, and kind of took it from there.
What was that experience like going to college and playing collegiate volleyball?
That was probably one of the better times of my life so far, to be honest. I went to LaSalle University and helped my school win our first and only conference championship. And we got an NCAA tournament berth, and yeah, it was just a special time for me and my teammates.
How was that experience like putting on that LaSalle jersey and representing them?
Um, I would just say it was something that was like always a lot of fun and something I'm really grateful that I was like fortunate enough to find for myself during that time in my life.
What was that transition like for you coming out of college and getting started in your coaching career?
Um, I'm a coach and I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I started a seasonal cafe business when I graduated. And that was something I thought was going to kind of take me places. And I realized that I needed another form of income when the season ended, running my beachside cafe business. Um, so then fell into coaching, and it kind of felt like a seamless transition. Obviously, you kind of start at a really lower salary and wage, and you gain more experience, and then you start to work your way up.
What was that experience like coaching on the club level?
It was great. I think that learning different ways to kind of get a team to be structured and organized and um, finding ways to motivate, finding ways to like just understand different types of people and then kind of get them all to work towards the same things was a really fun process.
For you, what was that experience like becoming a head coach on the college level for the first time?
It's definitely really nerve-wracking, but it was something that I really wanted. So it was something I knew I just wanted to put a lot of work towards. And yeah, I mean, it's just like the amount of preparation that it takes compared to coaching a high school or club team was tremendously different. So it was just like over preparing as much as possible and still sometimes not feeling prepared enough.
Coming to brunch, what was that experience like stepping onto that volleyball court for the first time?
Um, yeah, like I said, like a lot of nerves, but really, really grateful. I really loved their gym. Their gym is beautiful. Um, the athletes were all like really like a great identity of New York City, just like a diverse group of students that did what they needed to do to play at that level, which I would really commended coaching to athletes at that time.
How was it like getting to coach both the men's and the women's side of volleyball?
It's definitely it keeps you on your toes. Um, the men's side is a little bit more physical, like three touches and the ball's down, and um, depends if the rally's going to last super long because people can just kind of get up and really put the ball straight down. And the women's side has a lot more, nuances in terms of like defense and keeping the ball alive and being smart and longer rallies. Um, so there's a lot of fun different aspects to it, I'd say.
As a head coach, what have been some of the biggest challenges you have had to face in both the men's side and the women's side of volleyball?
Um, I guess starting with the women's side, since that's always the in the fall season. It's really just like managing expectations and communicating well, making sure that everyone's on the same page and being ready for the challenges of, you know, the season and kind of like helping them get through those challenges in ways that feel productive and thoughtful and yeah, that's kind of what I'd say. There's some challenges to the women's side. And then the men's side, um, sometimes it's like more the men are just kind of they don't really mind if they're all friends. They just want to play well. With women, sometimes it's really important that the entire team is like best friends and they really like each other. And I've learned if you're on a team where there's problems with one or two teammates, that might not translate well into the court. But if you're a part of a team where everyone is close and friendly and cares for each other, the team's typically more successful.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've started to build for the program?
A course you said?
The culture that you've started to build for the program.
Yeah. So, I was 1 year with Baruch and now I'm in my second year at Pratt. The culture at Baruch was sort of, like I said, like a city university college. So you're getting students from New York City that are coming from backgrounds from kind of like all around the world. And now at Pratt, the culture is it's an art school, specialized art school in in Brooklyn. And the students are extremely passionate and creative on a regular basis. So kind of utilizing the strengths of being passionate and creative to then become successful in practice and successful in the weight room and successful in their rituals for like getting in shape and being healthy and then using that to be becoming a good team and a good program is kind of what we're striving for. So really like utilizing people's strengths and then bring it all together to become like one solid group.
While at Pratt, what have been some of the biggest accomplishments that you have faced?
Um, I would say we practice at 6:15 a.m. to 8:15 a.m. So being an early person and also like we are considered a high academic school. So the challenges of how demanding the academics can be for our students and they're known for having some all-nighters and late night study sessions and studio work time. So really managing like people's ability to sleep well and really like you asked about the culture, like continuing to shift the culture towards playing at a higher level is something that's been challenging at times.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach?
Um, I'd like to start with like watching film while I eat like breakfast. And obviously take care of other responsibilities that can be going on during the day. Um, if I really have a lot of time, I'd love to start the day at the gym and work out and even do go in the sauna and cold shower if possible. And also like practice like some meditation in the sauna and mindfulness. I feel like when I get to do that during a game day, I come into the game ready. And then when we get to the team, it's really about like getting together about 90 minutes before, trying to play like fun music. We have like a big boombox speaker that we play that like the team really likes. And then obviously like getting closer to the game, it's talking about what the opponent is capable of, what we're capable of to slow the opponent down, the advantages that we would have, the advantages that they will have, and honestly, just like finding ways to like feel connected and ready to take on the opponent. And then, the warm up is intended to get us feeling confident and warm and ready to get that job done.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
So we are in for the women's team, we are in the Atlantic East, and the men's team, we're in the United East. Um, So we play the top team of the men's is Lancaster Bible, which there's a an athlete that's like Instagram famous on their team, the setter, who's really, really talented. And then the women's team, it's Marymount University. So both conferences are basically based out of Pennsylvania and New Jersey, with a few schools in different states. But yeah, that's kind of how the conferences work, and it's been really fun because our first year we didn't, on the women's side, we were in the Coast to Coast conference, which was a little bit out of reach for us.
What is that home game atmosphere like when different teams come to your home facility?
Um, I think that people are really like intrigued by our campus, because it is like a sculpture park. So when you walk in, there's like sculptures everywhere, and you typically think when you're in like a Brooklyn campus that there might not be a lot of like grass and trees, but we have a 25-acre campus, so it's kind of like, whoa, this is a really nice campus. And finding the gym is a little tricky at times, and it's not like a normal looking gym. It's got like different like arcs to it. Um, and then when you kind of get in there, we just renovated. So we have a brand new space for our athletes. We have new locker rooms, new conference rooms, film study rooms, student athlete lounges, athletic trainers. So I really think that the athlete experience for our players and for our opponents is kind of just like truly got enhanced, which is extremely exciting. And when it comes to game time, we do have a few echoes. So some parts are like easy to hear each other, other parts like a simple like yell might not get through to a player. But the ceilings are really high. The court floor is also pretty new. And we can fill up the seats pretty well when we have a certain game that like draws interest to the campus.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a head coach, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes?
So, with Pratt, the first thing we're looking for is if they're an artist. So I go to convention centers and I'm recruiting athletes. And so there was one time there was 100 courts playing at once, right? So you'd think, oh, let me watch one of the 100 courts. I actually saw a student or a player. She was just holding an iPad and she was just putting together amazing artwork. And I went up to her. I'm like, when do you play next? Like, I see that you're an artist. And then that's kind of how the recruitment process started. And then obviously the other part of it is looking for personable players that are like really about being part of a team and being a team oriented, um, and would like to study in Brooklyn and study in New York. And then we look for players that really do have that it factor, that whether it's like a specific position that they're like really talented in, whether it's just being like a really strong passer, server, setter, attacker, defender, all those different types of things, blocking. But yeah, it really does depend on what they're looking to study, which is kind of different than most colleges out there.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those prospective student athletes as freshmen putting on that uniform for the first time?
I always say like that's one of the best parts of the job is meeting somebody in a different place, whether it's like walking in a convention center in like Boston or going out to Los Angeles and having a conversation, right? And you didn't know if you're gonna have a conversation with this person, and before you know it, it leads to getting each other's contact information, and then now they're visiting, and that's where it's always special, and then they apply, right? Right? And that's exciting, and they get admitted, and for them to say they're going to come to that school and then they put that jersey on. It's something that's always like there's really no better feeling than like achieving like that type of connection with another person.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen achieve those big milestones in their careers?
It's kind of everything because you want those freshmen to be the next group of leaders and to um, take on the next generation and be that influence and guide the next group of athletes to achieve their goals.
What is that like getting to see those seniors putting on that Pratt uniform for the last time?
It's definitely really bittersweet. Specifically for, this year's senior class or the women's team. We just had some really great people that were really really cared about the growth of the program, and they were just awesome. And we were definitely, sad to say goodbye. And you could say that about the men's team coming up too. Like one of the guys on the team, he's just really transcended the program, and he's really brought his group of seniors with him, and they're all just really excited about this upcoming season. So I know when it's that last day, it's going to be an emotional one for them and for myself.
What have been some of the things that you've been able to accomplish so far at Pratt?
Um, we for the women's side, we've made the postseason both years. And this year specifically, we really needed to win our last match to make the postseason, um, which felt amazing, to be honest, because we had a really challenging season and we found a way to pull through. Um, Other things that I'd say we'd be able to accomplish, it's really just like I said, the culture, the expectation, like having everyone be on the same page during really challenging times, getting through problems together, starting, a Dig Pink campaign and raising over $1,000 for breast cancer awareness and the charity for the Dig Pink Foundation. Um, and yeah, just like when we have our recruits visiting, like the team kind of banding together and like really showing them why they should be part of Pratt's community, are all really, really special and awesome things. So yeah, that's some of the things for the women and for the men. Um, the year before I got there, the men had only achieved a two-win season of 18 losses. So that was the year before I came in. And last year we doubled our win percentage and we improved pretty much every statistical category. I think we led the league in aces. We led the league in, oh, sorry. Yeah, we led the league in aces. We improved our hitting percentage, our dig percentage, our assist percentage. So we really did improve. Um, and then the one thing to also highlight are the athletes that made like the first team all academic teams last year. There was a few in the women's program that like really exceeded, and we finished first at our school with the highest grade point average.
What are some of your future plans for the
15.
program moving forward?
Um, to become a desirable location for more recruits. So a place that athletes really want to be at and come to. Um, and doing that by building an environment that it's a no-brainer, right? When people see us, people talk to us, people visit us, they're like, I want to be a part of that place, that Pratt Institute.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college volleyball?
Um, Working on your physical health and your habits now. Getting your there's a thing I recently heard at a volleyball camp. It was like focusing on your 3/8. So if you think about it, you actually get 3/8 in the day. You get 8 hours to sleep, you get 8 hours to do your schoolwork, and then you have 8 hours to work on your volleyball ability, your physical strength, agility, explosiveness, and also time with your friends and your family and like your extracurricular activities. So are you getting 5 hours of sleep? Are you only putting a few hours into your schoolwork? Are you putting much time into volleyball? Is it really only twice a week? Um, so yeah, getting really prepared for those things can really be life changing. And so yeah, just kind of like time management, time with friends and family, and then putting in the work, a lot of work, consistent work with your volleyball.
What advice would you give those college juniors transitioning into being seniors and leading the program?
Sometimes it's a daunting task, and can be a little bit overwhelming to know that you're the next person up to run it. Um, and I would say like really just step into that role as being the next group of leaders, but like don't overwhelm yourself.
What advice would you give those players that have aspirations of playing professional volleyball?
I'd say there's professional opportunities all over, right? Like normally it's been overseas and it's starting to happen in the United States, which is really exciting. And I'd say like, if you want to do it, you should expect that it's more of a passion driven follow than financial driven follow initially. So if you're doing it, you're doing it because you absolutely want to play at the highest level in circumstances that are completely out of your comfort zone. So you have to be open and willing to do that. And if you are, I think it'll be something that'll be really worthwhile. But if it's not something that you feel like is best for you and your career and your life, then, there's other ways to be a part of the sport of volleyball at a high level as a player and as a coach.
What advice would you give those players looking to get into started into college coaching after their playing career?
Um, I would say, you want to get comfortable coaching all levels first. There's no shame in coaching a 12s developmental team, or 11s, all the way up to coaching in 18s. And I think you should kind of be able to have a variety of coaching all of those age groups first, and then really just like learn from people that are experienced in the industry and ask lots of questions, and really just like dive into it. There's a great world for coaching that I think the sport's just growing. So people that are just graduating, it's a really cool way to start your career. And for some people, it could be a long-term move. For some people, it could be a bridge to their full-time job. So I think that's what's great about coaching volleyball.
What advice would you give those head coaches that are looking to build their own program and build their own legacy?
Um, I'd say building your own programs about the foundation of the school and foundation of your like athletes in your team. So that's the first thing. Second, I'd say like building your own legacy, it's not about the end result. It's really about the day-to-day work. It's like it's just getting excited at getting 1% better, and then really embracing the process of the challenges you're going to face, right? Because there's going to be more days of challenge and more days of like, like a legacy, or like the feeling of a win, like the glory of a win. That's not really what it's about. It's about the stuff that it takes to get to those places. And if you work consistently towards them, you typically will find a legacy at the end of it. But if you kind of cut corners and find ways to not really do it, you'll feel that at the end of your time, which is not always the best feeling.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the program app?
You said our social media.
Mhm.
So Pratt Institute men's volleyball. Let me double check. And I think it's the same for the women's. So it is our handles. Yeah, Pratt men's volleyball. And find us on social media on Instagram. And same thing, Pratt women's volleyball.
Thank you again,
And if
Coach.
you are interested in, sorry, can I say one more thing? If you're interested in following my beach volleyball and volleyball clinic business page, it's called Reese Park Volleyball.
Thank you again, Coach Alex, for your interview and best luck in your future at Pratt Institution as the head men's and women's volleyball coach.
Thank you. Thank you for this time.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Alex, for your interview and best luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.